The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is
Wednesday in the Riv.
The hump day in the Riv. And let's get to Admiral COVID, Starfleet Commander, right out of the gate.
Yeah, because we've got a lot to cover this morning. According to yesterday's COVID numbers, it was 541,908 cases. New cases was 1,114. Total deaths was 15,564. New deaths was 30. Bristol County had 55,080 cases. So there you go. There's your numbers. And we're still going down, which is a good sign.
Yeah. But I want to just make one quick point that I saw yesterday. Massachusetts, California, New York, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, the bluest of the blue, lead the country in deaths per 100,000.
Yeah.
The places with the greatest lockdowns and the most repressive business climates to destroy our economy are leading the nation in deaths. So that just reinforces what we say. If you want it screwed up, let the government handle it. So here we go. Which segues us into the next segment, right?
Yes. Yesterday, about approximately 15 hours ago, 5 minutes before a city council meeting, a mechanical engineer for the city of Fall River. Presently, my company is performing the HVAC work at the New Durfee High School. And in 51 years of construction experience, I have never seen a more poorly constructed building than this structure. When done, we, the taxpayers and residents of Fall River, will have a structure that will be worse than the old school being torn down at a price tag of plus or minus $263 million. I assure you, everything I'm telling you can be verified, as several city employees, as well as those involved in the project, are documenting numerous deficiencies that the construction manager has attempted to cover up during construction. One, if you drove by this project during the late summer, early fall, you may have noticed many windows were missing in the facade of the building, but the sheetrock was installed, walls painted, and cabinetry work installed. However, the roof was not fully installed, resulting in major water infiltrating the building and soaking the sheetrock as well as the cabinetry. This went on for months. Not until the recent installation of the bell tower was the building somewhat watertight. Consequently, mold and mildew developed. The construction manager's solution was to cut the bottom 2 feet of sheetrock from the random rooms and replace only those sections. The construction manager also supposedly did air testing internally without anyone actually witnessing or overseeing the testing. I am not a mold remediation contractor, but I am a mechanical engineer, and I am smart enough to know that mold and mildew have no height limits. When one of the persons responsible for the direction of the folly from the construction manager's management team was questioned, his response was, if I put up 400 sheets a day and we have to replace 100 sheets, we are ahead of the game. This would be great, but when will they replace the other 100 plus sheets damaged by the rivers of water that ran down the walls? Does the mold and mildew still exist? So in the next couple of years, when your kids are continually sick without obvious cause, think of the mold and mildew still present in the $263 million disaster. 2, for those of you unfamiliar with building standards and fire safety walls, safety requirements, let me give you a quick tutorial. Fire-rated floors and walls are a standard in commercial construction today. We all realize how quickly a fire can spread and the cost of human life that can result from an improperly fire-safe building. Part of this requirement installing a fire-safe compound on all penetrations within the building's architectural type and duct chases that allow these items to pass through the floors and prevent fire and smoke from mitigating from floor to floor or to other areas of the building. This work is the responsibility of the construction manager. Throughout the project, both the building inspector, Glenn Hathaway, and the director of Fall River's DCM, Chris Gallagher, have been diligent in enforcing the project's building codes and the project design specifications. Thank God. Numerous times they have uncovered the construction manager's failure to provide properly fire-stopped or penetration, not fire-stopped. The construction manager has purposely enclosed these chases, well knowing the fire stopping had not been completed. This is an enormous dereliction of the construction manager's obligation to provide a fire-safe building, yet they continue to construct what could be a death trap that has potential of killing the occupants. You may ask how one of the largest contractors in the country can allow this. Just walk through and observe the age and experience of the construction manager's management team. Most are freshly out of college with little or no experience, and they work cheap. These young people have been employed at a wage rate much less than a person with construction experience. The subcontractors on this project experience this ineptness every day with actions that have no reasonable explanation other than they were directed to perform a function but cannot provide the logic that needed to carry out the task on which they were assigned. To add injury to insult, the owner of the construction company asked the mayor, get this now, asked the mayor to prohibit the city's watchdogs from access to the building. The mayor wisely refused. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ludicrous suggestion. 2 or
CJ,
3. Yep.
Look, that's a very long letter. We're already almost 8 minutes in. I think this is posted. Let them read all the specifics. I think we got
my big problem with this is that if the mayor is aware of this, and obviously he has because he said no, the watchdogs can't go in. There's a problem. There's a problem, right. And nothing's being done to prevent this problem from going further at all. And this is a construction guy. He's a mechanical engineer. People said, oh, well, he might be a disgruntled employee. He's not a disgruntled employee. He's working on this project. He installed the HVAC system. And when they tear down the building, the dust and debris is going to damage the HVAC system. And then they're going to say, oh, we need money for the HVAC system. Something's got to be done.
Well, you're right, and that therein lies the rub. It's posted. People can begin to read all the specifics, but here, as you said, this is the issue. You know, they say that repeating the same behavior and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. This is another outrage to go along with the superintendent. We are building a school, and these are allegations. As you said, some people may say this guy's a disgruntled employee, this guy's this guy's that. Well, but that doesn't relieve the city and the mayor and the people who are in charge of this to not conduct a complete investigation on these allegations. So you're telling me we're going to spend, or they're telling us, that we're going to spend over $250 million for a, quote, state-of-the-art school, and it's already got inferior workmanship. It's already got potential problems with mold. The fire stopping is obviously a major problem. Fire stopping, all I can say about the lack of fire stopping is the MGM Grand hotel disaster in Las Vegas. After that disaster, they realized that fire can, we knew that fire could propagate through chases. They had those common chases, and now they changed all the codes for high-rise buildings. Now they have to be compartmentalized, and there's a whole bunch of codes now when they build a high-rise, just like with houses. All the houses in Fall River are what they call balloon frame. You can stand in the cellar, look up the wall to the attic, and fire can run up there because it's like a chimney. All the new construction has fire stopping in it. So we're going to build a school that has potentially life-threatening safety violations. We're getting patchwork in the initial construction phase. So again, who's going to be the Alan Jereback of this one? Who's going to be, what's his name, Alacrum? All the other people that got indicted from the last time we built a building. What are they doing now? Are they attempted to suppress this? As you said, the mayor was informed of this. But were we told, were the taxpayers who were going to not only foot more than $250 million tag, and then they want to add another $5 million in athletic fields? Why weren't we told? Why isn't there an investigation? If there is, why wasn't the city told about these problems? There's always going to be a whistleblower on the superintendent of schools, a whistleblower on the construction of the high school. Taxpayers of Fall River, do you really want to go and get your debt override moved up to pay for a building that's built like crap? Fall River has proved one thing without a shadow of a doubt. They can't build anything right. We have fire stations that are over 125 years old that are in better shape than this school is already, and they haven't even opened up the doors. These are allegations, but we deserve to know, the taxpayers deserve it, and you have a legal obligation, Mr. Mayor, to ensure that this money is being spent correctly. There should be a full investigation of these allegations, because I'll tell you one thing. We were around when we saw the last dance, when they built the last school. And this is a pretty damning thing to say that this building is already drastically impaired. This man alleged that the HVAC system is going to get destroyed by the dust, so we're going to have breathing problems for the kids, no fire stopping. You're going to already got patchwork sheet rocking up there. Well, let's cut the 2 feet. Like I said, mold doesn't have a height requirement. Mold can, wherever it gets damp, mold can come in. So there you go. I mean, and you hit it right on the head, CJ, that it is in the text of that letter that the mayor was informed. They know about it. And don't you think that the taxpayers who are going to pay this giant bill, and then you're going to try to make us pay it early, even more, for this, deserve to know that there was a problem that's being addressed? Maybe the reason you didn't say there was a problem is because you haven't addressed it. And if you have, why haven't you said it?
Well, it's amazing because the mayor holds me accountable for everything, as you know. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But how come nobody's holding these people? This writer put out there very clearly the good work that people are doing, like Chris Gallagher, like Glenn Hathaway. Okay? He said it very clearly. They're doing their job. But maybe if they can't maintain this building properly during its construction phase, maybe we need, and as I spoke with our producer earlier, maybe we need to get the state down here to sign off on these projects. Because when they did work at BCC, they're very strict, and they make them jump through hoops. Maybe we in Fall River need to get the state inspectors down here to have them look over this project. Because obviously, our city people can only be trusted so far, especially if they don't get backed up by the administration or by the school committee or the city council. Now, Pamela Liberté LeBeau posted this morning that she spoke to the mayor about this, and she is sure that she will get an answer. I posted on her posting that, Pam, I appreciate what you're doing. I want to thank you, but the mayor was already apprised of this situation, and you were never told. She's never been told. Nobody on the city council has been told. Nobody until last night even knew about this. So that's a problem. Where's the communication? Where's the transparency, Mr. Mayor, between your administration and the city council and the school committee and the people of Fall River? Where's your transparency? Obviously, it doesn't exist. And I'm gonna hold you accountable here in this matter, because you love to pick on Chip and I, and you pick out one sentence or one word in what we say. So I'm going to pick out one sentence or one word that you said. And Sean Kadim pointed it out last night in the city council meeting. First, as mayor and chairman of the school committee, I want to publicly express my empathy for all individuals whose lives and livelihoods have been and continue to be affected by the actions of the superintendent. Have been and continue. And continue. That means it's still going on. There's an admission. You admitted, Mr. Mayor, that this is still happening. You admitted it. I'm going to pick on you the way you pick on me. Okay? I'm going to point it out. You pointed out to me that not all the
complaints,
paperwork, all the disclosures were redacted. Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do agree. Yours was not redacted, although the other three were. But, Mr. Mayor, let's get into this. Describe the issue that is coming before you for action, for discussion. Executive session. That's not the action. This is self-redacted. What responsibility do you have for taking action on making a decision? Chair of the meeting. Explain your relationship or affiliation to the person or organization. Family issue. Wrong. You have no relationship with the person involved in the action. Okay? How do your official actions or decisions matter to the person or organization? Potential conflict. Optional. Additional facts why there is a low risk of undue favoritism or improper influence. I will not participate. That wasn't a disclosure, Mr. Mayor. Those are 1 or 2 word answers just saying this is where you are. Okay? A disclosure, while redacted, is something like this. Okay? In my capacity as a state, county, or municipal employee, I'm expected to take certain actions in the performance of my official duties. Blah, 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 blah. Special school committee meeting, executive session, Mass General Law 38, Section 21A1, to discuss complaints brought against a school official, and that was redacted, the name. Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct a strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and or contract negotiations with non-personnel. What responsibility do you have? As an elected member of the Fall River School Committee, it's my responsibility to listen, to discuss, deliberate, and make determinations by way of votes on the complaints brought against the school official, name redacted. One of the complaints is complaint redacted. Explain your relationship or affiliation to the person or organizations. My wife, Tracy A. Costa, is employed by the Fall River Public Schools as a licensed practical nurse. The school official, blank, is employed by the Fall River School Department, and my relationship is both professional and personal. Blank is the named complainant in the matter, again, redacted, where my wife works as a licensed practical nurse. Blank does not have any direct supervisory responsibility with my wife. But while maybe the superintendent does have direct responsibility for the supervision of your wife, Mark, guess what? He's the one that created the position for her. Because DESE regulations require that all school nurses be registered nurses with a baccalaureate degree. So I have filed a complaint with DESE in regards to your wife's position. I'm filing a complaint, or I have filed a complaint, I should say, with the Board of Registration in Nursing, because if she's acting as a licensed practical nurse in a position that requires an RN, she could lose her license. I'm going to hold you accountable just like the mayor holds me accountable. Just like other people hold me accountable. Remember, I'm not a journalist. The mayor made that very clear when he pulled me off his press release list. I am a commentary. I make commentaries. My weekly column is a commentary, which means it's my opinion. While it's laced with fact, mostly fact, actually all fact, guess what? It's still a commentary. And that's the way that is. So you want to pick on one word like all, that's fine, Mr. Mayor. You focus on one word. You just give the Democrats the standing that they have everywhere else, because that's what they do. They deflect, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah, well, but I guess that that's an issue. But the problem is there's greater issues here than, as he said, he picks on, you're going to pick on a word, you're going to pick on, but look, they checked the box. This investigation should not be restricted to the superintendent and getting rid of him. This should be the whole, Costa filled out a thing, said he could be neutral, and that's BS. When we see all the facts, nobody could be neutral on this issue. That he could give an unbiased opinion. I think that's crap. I think there's a lot more to this, and I don't know what the superintendent's got on these people, but I don't even think just one job or just a created job may not be enough, but that's my opinion. But let's get back to the school. 260, over $250 million, $263 million. I mean, that's just astronomical. This is what we're paying. And again, we saw the horror show they had when they built the other school. One guy went to jail, and 2 or 3 people had to resign after that investigation. You think we'd learn from that? You think we'd get, especially with a mayor who was part of the school system and worked in that building. Now, from the get-go, you think that we would be informed about this, what they're going to do. By the way, just as an aside here, it's your obligation under the Constitution of Massachusetts, because you're at all times answerable to us, and at all times our substitutes. So we voted for that school. Well, I didn't vote for it with the debt override. I voted for the school. We needed a new school. But if we're going to build a school, let's build a good school. We heard all these things. It's going to be a wonderful school. It looks good. It's a great facade. Now we got water running down the walls, running down the walls. We've got no fire. There may be non-coded fire protection in that building. Well, obviously, I'm extremely sensitive to that. Obviously, we know that these codes were created because of prior catastrophes. The MGM Grand precipitated all the codes in high-rise buildings. Fire stopping was created because they saw the damage and the loss of life caused by having buildings where fires could go, uninterrupted and involve an entire building in virtually minutes. So all these allegations are serious. But they're saying that these other people are doing good work. What are we getting out of this? I think we have a right to know. You're spending $263 million of our dollars, plus you're trying to nick us on the tax increase by sliding in the new debt exclusion that was supposed to be in 23. Do you think that we should get our money's worth? Do you really think that this should be made public, that we're having some issues and you're dealing with them? That's what a leader does. But you're doing what you did with the superintendent. Everything's going to get covered up. And then maybe in 3 or 4 years, when you're gone, sitting on a beach somewhere with your feet up, and people are starting to talk about kids are getting sick, there's mold in the building, there's leaks in the roof. You always have minor problems, especially with a building that size. But when you have it in the construction phase, it should have been 100% made right, made perfect. The mitigation should start now. You don't cover it up, throwing sheetrock up there without absolutely a 100% assurance that we're not going to have a mold problem? We're going to get a discount? Are we going to get a discount on this from all this, from these people? This is another outrage piled on the outrage of the superintendent. So that, this is just this. I mean, it just never stops in this city. Just never stops.
Well, what I think was interesting was in the fifth point on this gentleman's posting, he says the construction manager's owner has been summoned to the site several times to explain why these items, plus a slew of others, too numerous to list, are occurring on this project. The person arrives in the city in a Bentley with a chauffeur and a bodyguard. Why the armed bodyguard? Does this not remind you of the Buddy Cianci era or something out of a crime movie?
Well, I mean, I obviously you have to question when a guy that runs a construction company comes in with an armed guard. He may have had problems in other places, and we have to look at where the ties are, because we know how these contracts go out. And there was also an issue with the roof. As you said, somebody drove by and saw a roof issue. But see, the problem always is with this, and the irony is, I remember the campaign all about transparency. And there's no transparency. No matter what the issue is, it has to be leaked by somebody. I mean, we had mayors that used to call press conferences like Flanagan to open a letter. I mean, he'd call a press conference every day. He'd like to see himself on camera. We don't get any information. No matter what's happening, they try to hide it. But this school is going to be there for who knows how long, 40 years, talking about maintenance. He mentioned maintenance in one of his letters to you, I think. Yep. So we're already not maintaining the building. We've already got problems with the building. And now it's going to cost more to maintain. We may never mitigate these problems because they're going to become just, normal issues. I remember when they had a school with a leak in it in the construction phase, and that leak never got completely fixed. So now's the time to fix it. These contractors are being paid big money. So let's hold their feet to the fire and let's be truthful. Where do we stand for the safety of our children in that building?
Well, I'll tell you, it is the way of the world now. Here in Fall River, we got to get everything leaked to us, and that's the same sad state of affairs. Because remember, this gentleman who ran for mayor, who is our mayor, turned around and said during his campaign he was going to run the city on policy, not politics, which everything is about politics for him, and he was going to be transparent. And the transparency is so transparent, it's milk glass. That's how transparent it is. And we can't get any truth here. When you look at what's going on in the school department, and by the way, one thing real quick, Mary Sahadi proved last night to the city council that they do indeed break up the bonds so that they stay under the $10 million mark. So now we know why. So, under the $5 million mark, this way, the voters can't have a say in what is bonded. So it's to the voters. Oh, well. Well, we're just about out of time, and it's tough because we have so much more to talk about and so much more to bring you. But we appreciate you watching us. We thank you for taking the time. And remember, keep those tips coming. We'll talk about them on the show. We'll bring them forward. We'll make sure everyone knows about them. And we'll expose those things that aren't exposed for you because we want a transparent government. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Stay angry. Wear a mask. And have a good day.
Give our children this